What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Cold Front. My name is Zach, and today we're going to talk about the movie Presence. Now, 14, this is something that 14-year-old me could come up with in his head. Dude, wouldn't it be cool if you have a ghost movie, but we're the ghost, and we get to haunt the characters the whole time? So we're getting to be the ones, fulfilling all of that. That's such a cool concept and such a simple concept. And this movie was marketed as one of the scariest movies of the year, horror experience, and the trailer, unfortunately, ends up being far scarier than the movie. Like I said, my 14-year-old self could have come up with this. This should have been and could have been and was marketed as Paranormal Activity meets In a Violent Nature from last year, the serial killer film from the perspective of the killer, where the camera's following you around. I was worried about some of the limitations of it because In a Violent Nature wasn't that scary either, because turns out when you're following the problem causer, there's no jump scare. There's a little tension because when everything's coming around the corner. But come to find out, this movie Presence is not interested at all in tension or scaring you, or really even trying to entertain you. Now, all that being said, even though it totally fails on the concept of its premise, that does not necessarily mean it's a bad movie. Because it's not. I think it just, I don't know if it's the marketing or what, and it could have been something, it could have been on me. But calibrate your expectations if you gotta go see this. This is technically a ghost story, but it's not a horror. This is a tragedy. If anything, this is a tragedy. This is an examination of grief, of PTSD from multiple different angles in a very broken family. And we kind of act as this voyeur that's just kind of watching things happen to this family. And which is an interesting concept. But the thing is, since there's no forward momentum, there's a very loose plot structure. There's nothing. And then there's no horror. There's nothing keeping you to the edge of your seat. There's very little scene to scene that's convincing me, I want to keep watching this, and it's a good thing this is only an hour and 25 minutes, because if it was any longer, I would have lost my mind, and I didn't even know the movie was ending in the final scene. All we knew it was probably ending because I knew how long the movie was, but not with any kind of plot indication or character fulfillment or resolvement. Even the twist at the end, if you've seen any kind of movies like this, you kind of see it coming within the first act of the film, if you could call it, the first act of the film. I feel like I'm bashing on this a lot. Deservedly so. Don't market your artistic drama voyeur film as a ghost story, as Paranormal Activity meets In a Violent Nature, if you have zero scares, zero forward momentum, and thus almost zero entertainment value. Take that to the side. If you enter this looking at this as a experience, okay, I know I'm kind of sounding vague there, but if you look at this as an experience of grief and trauma and the dangers of having a family with little to no leadership, a family with little to no cohesiveness, this has some interesting, thought-provoking things on how one tragedy can spiral into another one, if a family's not built together. It's pretty emotional. Some things that happen that, they're sad. You feel for the characters. The problem with this film, though, is I can't really figure out these characters aren't likable. I don't know what it is that made me so far this year, but like, I feel for some of the characters because of the things they've gone through, but they have mostly totally unlikable personalities, and the only one really with likable personality is the father, and he's so weak as a father figure that he can't keep his family together. So this is just it's one of those movies that the writing, the characters were fine, that there's some intrigue with the craft of it. The single takes, it's essentially, I don't know, it's less than 20, more than 10 one take sequences just squished together. And I'm a sucker for one take stuff, because that's hard to do, from what I understand, from an acting and a directing perspective, because there's no cuts. They have to perform the scene without messing up at all for a sustained period of time. And so there's some art to that. There's some creative things they do with the camera in this movie. And even the first 10 minutes, there's a little bit of creepiness to the fact that even me and the guy I went to watch this with are kind of looking at each other like, I'm not sure I want to be in my kitchen alone anymore because of just what's happening here. Like, what if the coach is watching me, right? There's some intrigue with that. But at the end of the day, it's well made. This director's done some good stuff in the past. He's obviously uber talented. I just don't know why you would make this. I don't know, like, who is this for, right? I get that there's probably some artistic people out there who are going to find some enjoyment in this, who really love melancholy stuff. So that's the pitch for this movie. It's you're a voyeur watching a melancholy, sad situation occur to your normal run-of-the-mill family. And if that's something that intrigues you, then by all means go watch it. That sounds super boring to me. And in fact, it was super boring for most of this movie. And even, I think there are things in the script that could have been tightened up, that could have made my enjoyment more. There's this whole subplot with the wife and the husband. You'll know what I'm talking about. Start watching it. That never gets resolved. It like starts exploring really deep, and you're like, oh, what's going on? They mention it, they kind of go into detail, create all this little subdrama, and it never gets fulfilled. Like, why was he even in the movie? I don't know. Right? There's this revelation that happened towards the end of the film that felt pretty far out of left field for me, and not in like a good way. Like I was watching it and just, I don't know. I'm just like, what movie? Why is this the plot point we're going to? The thing I was interested in is this ghost that I'm watching, and just, I don't know. I really don't know how to say anything without spoiling stuff. I hate spoiling movies, but there was just some writing decisions that it felt unfocused at times. There's 2 or 3 things that spin off and go into nowhere, and there's this one through line that just goes into a really weird direction. I'm not really sure what the purpose of it is or what the message is supposed to be to me of the audience after watching this. I went in wanting to see one movie. I got the exact opposite of what I wanted. I'm going to try to be objective here. I would give this a 4 out of 10. Okay, I'm giving it a couple points for craft. Like I said, it's a well-made movie. It's not like some garbage B movie with horrible editing or anything like that. It's really well made, technically well put together. And there's some baseline interesting stuff with just the concept in that itself. Even though they didn't do what I wanted them to do, it's still pretty entertaining. At least for the first 10, 20 minutes, there's some novelty to that I feel like is enjoyable enough. And the examination of grief and everything is interesting. I'm sure will be fulfilling for somebody. I just wasn't that person. I wasn't that person. And to me, that should have been the spice, not the main ingredient. So I ended up with a mouthful of garlic, and I wanted something a little more substantive with garlic at the side, right? So that's my take on Presence. 4 out of 10. Fine film. Again, if you want an artistic voyeur type experience, really, really super sad, go watch this. That doesn't sound like your cup of tea. Stay far away from it. This is not the movie that it was marketed as. Hopefully we get one of those in the future. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next week.